Welcome to the Uncontested Podcast, talking Oklahoma City Thunder basketball and the wider NBA.
Sam Presti said, lower the hatch, load up the cannon, and get the tank out rolling.
Catch new episodes after each Thunder game and every Sunday night.
This is a house of learning doctors.
Follow The Uncontested on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to catch new content as it drops.
I mean, a cat and a dog connected together?
This is Lou Dort. You're listening to The Uncontested.
What is up? Welcome to The Uncontested Podcast. The season is over. The tank is spoiled. It flipped upside down in the trench. The Thunder beat the tanking Los Angeles Clippers to end the season. I don't even have the score up in front of me. I'm so upset right now.
117
Thunder
112.
lost.
117 to 112.
You mother tanker. I swear to God, you're a mother tanker.
The Thunder lose. Thank you for joining us. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. If you are joining us live, hop in the chat. We know you guys have got some hot takes to fire off, so let us hear them. We definitely have some as well. I'm your host for the evening, Jacob Niffen. I am joined by almost the full squad. We got Kami Amarabian along for the ride.
I just want you guys to know that Poku went 29-8-2 and was on 10-19 shooting. The guy is basically turned into a god from what we saw at the beginning of the season. If we had to compare in Dragon Ball Z form where he started, like at Yajirobe, to where he would be and what he would be right now, who would he be right now if you started at Yajirobe?
He is preteen Gohan training with Piccolo.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Exactly.
I'm a fan of that. I like that. I don't like Yajirobe.
We've got
Goku
Justin.
Shefsky.
We've got Justin
Goku
on the podcast.
Hello, everybody.
Ugh.
And we've got Taylor along for the ride.
I mean, I'm just mad at SVP, at Poku, at Joshua Hall,
You guys
Moses freaking Brown.
It'll be
I'm just
okay.
mad at the Clippers personally. So, as we mentioned, a lot to talk about here as the NBA season is officially complete. The Thunder end the year at 22-50. They are going to be tied for the fourth best lottery odds with the Cleveland Cavaliers. That gives the Thunder a 45.2% chance at landing a top 4 pick and an 11.5% chance at the number 1 overall pick. They lost out on about 7 percentage points at a top 4 pick tonight as they beat the Los Angeles Clippers. Before we dive into all of this, though, got a few housekeeping things we want to clean up for you guys. We have been for the past, 6 months now.
We're going to clean their houses?
If somebody wants to come clean my house, you're welcome. We have been doing for about the past 6 months our weekly Sunday night live stream. And then after every Thunder game, we've been dropping a podcast for you guys, a quick 20 to 30 minute hitter for our post-game pods. Well, there are no more post-games left. The season
thank God. Thank God.
So, yes, I feel that. I feel that in my soul. So, we are changing up our schedule a little bit. We want to let you guys know. The Sunday night live stream, 9 p.m. Central Time, still on. Every Sunday night, come join us on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube. Hop in the chat, engage with us. We will be here every Sunday night. That is not changing. Besides that, we are doing 3 locker room shows a week. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. The Monday and Friday locker room shows are going to just be hangouts. I sometimes will post those as podcasts, but most of the time it's just going to be a place for people to come, chat hoops, ask questions, talk about the lottery, bitch about the Clippers, et cetera, et cetera. The Wednesday night locker room show, though, that one will be a longer podcast version of a show. We will rip that audio and drop it in the pod feed. We have tons of plans over the offseason. I think this coming Wednesday, we're going to start a little mini series on player grades. And we're going to continue that until we get to the lottery, which will shift over to draft prospect scouting. We have tons of stuff coming your guys' way. So make sure to join us on the Locker Room app Monday, Wednesday, and Friday evenings. And then as normal here on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook on Sunday night. With all of that being said, guys, worst one of the season?
It was fun. I don't know.
I can't say worst win of the season.
I
mean,
think Celtics game still wins that one.
The
'Cause then,
Celtics
we lose this one,
game-
we don't care quite as much.
the Lou Dort game winner. There's some other worthy.
See, I enjoyed
candidates
that
for
though. I at least got
The
enjoyable
20
moments out of
point
that one.
comeback against Chicago in overtime.
Yeah, it was good times. We had a. It was a good run, fellas. But I don't want to repeat this next year. Like
Yeah,
like
that's
maybe
exactly-
scatter your
Which is
wins.
why.
Scatter your wins throughout the season so it doesn't
Yes.
seem as bad.
Yes,
And maybe tank, but don't tank by losing each game by 30.
yeah. Don't win so much early on that you have to put in lineups that lose by 30.
I'm just
for the
telling
last
you, man.
30 games of the season.
Having
That Scott Van Pelt gets
legitimate,
pissy on his
yeah.
SVP after dark.
He's whatever. I think that was just talking about tanking in general, but like really
It was
accentuating
directed.
how bad OKC has been because like they won too many games at the front of the year, and then of course they traded everybody, sat everybody, and Shea has his injury and yada yada. So, I mean, I don't know. I really don't care.
It's a compliment. If
but
your goal is to tank, it was a historically good tank the second half of the season for Oklahoma City. Like Sam Presti out-tanked many other tankers in the history of tanking.
and he didn't get fined once, which I thought was
and he
weird
didn't
because
get fined.
it was
That-
That
blatant.
might be the
and
victory
that-
of the tank right there.
It's weird,
Exactly.
man.
And that is why it was getting brought up by national media because you have the team. Well, first of all, there's just the whole OKC thing about them, quote unquote, stealing the team from Seattle. Then they draft 3 MVPs back to back to back. They have great success early on. Then KD leaves and everybody's like, ho, the Thunder are finally having they're finally going to get what's coming to them. And then, Russ goes on his MVP season. Then we trade for PG, yada, 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 whatever. So, and then the whole returns for the PG trade and the Russ trade. And so I think there's a lot of people who like almost want to see the Thunder fail because of all those reasons. And they're just kind of like keeping their fingers crossed on lottery night that the Thunder will drop out of the top 5.
Did SVP really say Shea quit on the team? I didn't hear that.
I didn't hear that, but basically that the Thunder are like that. Maybe he's not. He didn't mention the injury, and essentially said that the Thunder are sitting Shea on purpose. Is kind of what they were getting at, or what
I
he was
mean,
getting
like,
at, which isn't
sure.
wrong.
Who cares? Okay.
Here's the thing: don't
curious.
hate the teams, hate the system that sets
Right.
up this where
Bingo.
small market teams
Right.
feel the need to tank in order to be competitive.
And to SVP's point, he replied to me, he replied to Stephen Dolan, he replied to a couple others throughout the weekend after his rant on, I guess it was Friday night. And he did acknowledge where we were coming from and understood it. He just didn't agree with it. So that's fair. And he was civil about it and he was able to have conversations. So
Well,
I didn't mean to take us down
don't-
that tangent, but
That's
I
good.
just don't buy that there's like a purer way to
Silver
build a
saying he did.
team. Like why is there some perceived notion that one way to build a team is better than other just because you don't like it? Like the Lakers pissed down their leg for a
Mhm.
half decade and then fell backwards into LeBron James and Anthony Davis. But like that's supposed to be the right way to do things? Like
Mhm.
I don't know why is this way wrong?
Where Sam
Right.
Presti is using every tool in his toolbox, working within the rules, but doing everything he can to an extreme in order to try to like. This might be just coming from the homer side of me, right? But to me, it seems like the Thunder have a more adept front office to navigate the rules and build a roster versus Los Angeles, which, like you said, Justin, you screw up everything. You suck. You're awful. And then LeBron James just says, I want to live in LA. And then you strike gold, right? Kind of the same thing for the Clippers, right? Kind of the same thing for really all these.
Miami.
Yeah. You're at an inherent disadvantage with a small market, and the Thunder have such a good front office at being able to navigate those rules. Just so much more of a, dare I say, like an intelligent front office to build a
Which
team.
is why a lot of the fan bases, like the Detroit Pistons and the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I mean the New York Knicks before this season, why so many of those franchises were upset, because they were like frustrated with their front offices for basically not doing this. And they think you should just, have to suffer for however many years before you finally land your Devin Booker or your, I can't even say De'Aaron Fox at this point. Like you should have to suffer that long before you can get that pick, rather than what Sam's doing and trying to accelerate that and maximize the talent he already has on the roster. I think a lot of teams see that, and it just or a lot of fans see that, and it just kind of frustrates them because their front office isn't doing that. And like I said, the Thunder took a team from, quote unquote, took a team from Seattle. They drafted 3 straight MVPs. They shouldn't keep being able to do all this. And it's not coincidental anymore as much as it is Sam Presti, to your point, Jacob.
Agreed. Well, guys, let's not do. I mean, we could go for hours, I think, on the strategy and morality of tanking, but let's do something a little more fun, which in all caps in my outline says "pissed off dads," because pre-pod we were having a hell of a discussion that we are bringing over here now about angry dads and Thunder basketball. Kamiar, I'm just giving you the floor. No more context. You just have the floor.
No context on my father whatsoever.
You can give context on your father if you like.
The context makes it better.
Me and my father vehemently disagree on how sports work, especially pro sports, because for the longest time, he told me Russell Westbrook was going to leave OKC and go to the Lakers. And I was like, Dad, he's under contract for 4 more years. Like, he can't do that next year. He's like, no, he's going to leave and go to Lakers. So this
Your
is
dad
to where,
might have been onto something.
this is what my dad's whole brain thinks about the NBA. And so he was like, oh, the Thunder, you're going to tell your grandchildren in 40 years that I wish I could see them in the finals. And like, we just had a really big argument about OKC and what tanking was and what OKC has to do to be good. And I was like, Dad, they're horrible and they're losing on purpose so they can get a better draft selection. And he was like, well, that's bad front office management. That's bad management skills. And I was like, Dad, you don't understand. You don't understand. That's really good because they're going to get a lot of picks. They already have a ton of picks the next 20 years. He's like, well, you saw what happened with James Harden. You saw what happened with Kevin Durant. You saw what happened. I'm like, what? They traded one and the other guy left. And like, he basically does not understand that I had to explain to him like the NFL and how the Dallas Cowboys, because he's a big Cowboys fan.
That was good.
And I was like, Dad, like CeeDee Lamb's a really good player for Dallas last year, right? Despite the fact that their quarterback was awful because Dak Prescott got hurt. He was like, yeah, CeeDee's been like probably our best receiver. I was like, oh, do you know why? Because like your team was god awful the year before, and so you got the draft CeeDee Lamb, Dad. You see how this works? And he's like, but OKC's front office on drafting isn't good. And I was like, what are you talking about? The last times you were in the top 5, you drafted 3 superstars ever to impact the game. Their faces are going to go in the Hall of Fame, all MVPs. And like, what do you want from the guy? And he's like, well, what has he done the last 10 years? And I'm like, when you're drafting in the late, after the lottery into the late 20s, in some cases, you don't get those opportunities to draft James Harden, Dad. And he's like, well, they're still wrong. And then, so this stewed over for a while. And then he was like, wait a minute, the Thunder's supposed to lose games, right? And I was like, yeah, Dad, that's how this works. And he's like, well, then why are they winning? And I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw my phone through the freaking TV. I wanted to punch this man or smother him. I was like, what are you doing?
Why aren't they winning? That's why we're having this conversation.
So angry. So
does your dad have a burner account? Because I'm pretty sure I've interacted with him
I've
on
tried
Twitter
to get him.
times.
I've tried to get him on Twitter. I've tried to. I should start tweeting out random things he says. I still do it sometimes.
Yes.
Just start a shit my dad says. Shit my dad says.
Yes.
We can all share the account because my dad's got some good ones too.
Yeah, Marcus says all the dads that are 50 and over in Oklahoma really have really bad sports opinions, and it's the fault of Al Eshbach and Jim Traver. No, that's very
so
fair.
True.
Yeah,
so true.
Fact. Taylor, your dad was upsetty spaghetti tonight as well.
But he actually understands it. He understood it from the very beginning. And so the
What a
best.
subtle diss to Kamiar's dad. Jesus, I hope they
Taylor's,
both listen to this
Taylor's
episode.
Sorry, Mr.
disrespecting my
Moradian.
dad live on the podcast.
My
It's
dad's
okay.
smarter
His
than
dad's
your
going
dad.
to come for my throat.
It's okay. My dad probably knows more than soccer about your dad, so that's
Yeah, right.
a
Yeah,
pretty
there you
fair
go.
comparison. You know, we have to include
I just-
the ethnic backgrounds here.
I only add that disclaimer just to say, to add context to the random text that me and my brother got in a group text at 9:58 p.m. We haven't talked the entire game, and he sends us, "This is a disaster." Then
Retweet.
Brown is killing us. Then, so Brown is killing us is at 9:58. 1 minute later, oh my God. That's the tweet. Or sorry, that's a text. Then, why is it? So my dad doesn't know any of these Clipper players playing.
Nobody
Clippers,
does because they
nobody
played the
does.
third damn string.
Right. So my dad
Ugh.
refers to them by their numbers. Why isn't Zero trying to score? Being man. And then, so that's at 10:02. Then 4 minutes later, neither me and my brother have responded to that one. He has since shit. So I say, of course. And then at 10:10, he says, I'm speechless. And then to end our three conversation, our group text, he says, Cunningham, Mobley, or Suggs was likely. Now it's unlikely. Might have just set the franchise back another 2 to 3 years.
I've never seen Thunder fans so pissed off at a win before.
Yes.
Can I just say, I don't know why, but I don't feel anything. Maybe
Justin,
that says
welcome
more
to
about
bed for the
inside.
past 10 years, man. It's
Yeah.
called depression. Join the train.
Honestly, the games Justin had to cover probably have aged him
Right.
considerably.
So
So,
true.
like, I think it's fair because most of the games Justin has experienced have been just like god awful events,
This is
and
true.
so
Justin
like,
did have the
you are
Indiana
probably
game.
you are numb to this by now. Like, you don't care. You're just glad the season's over. I'm here. Today was the first game I watched from the tip to the end. Like, I was like, I watch it in passing periods now. I can't watch all this garbage.
So here's Justin right now.
Yes, facts. And that's just like, I don't know.
James Harden with his smoothie.
You know, Jacob said at the top, 7% is that right? They lost
Yes.
7%.
7% at a top
odds.
4 pick, 3% at the number 1 overall pick.
That's not insignificant. Don't get me wrong, but it's also just 7%. Like, I don't know. I'm not as been out of shape as a lot of Thunder Twitter is, and maybe that's just because I'm dead inside. But I think that
Nah,
I don't know.
you're okay.
With the flattened lottery odds, it doesn't bother me as much. Would you rather be in the top 3 versus not in the top 3? Absolutely, but the margins are smaller, and I think it was it Kevin O'Connor that
That's
tweeted
what I
out
was-
after
yeah.
the game that since they did the flattened lottery odds, the seeding of the teams that got the top 2 picks was like 7, 8, 3, and 1. Small sample size, only two lotteries, but still not like, I think it puts it in perspective a little bit of like, just
Yeah.
because you're at 3 doesn't mean you're getting pick 3 or 2.
Right. Well, just like
You could
New
say
Orleans
8.
last year had the
Right.
9th best odds, and they
Which
got number
is
1.
Also, I think why there's so many people like, see, you can
Yeah.
be competitive and lay the number 1 pick still.
And that's the
because
thing
it's
is-
recency bias.
You want to control what you can control, right?
Right.
And that's what Sam
Yeah.
Presti's done. He's going to tilt the odds in his favor. He's not going to say like, yeah, we're good with being like, I don't know, 7th. We'll ride with that and see how it goes. No, you want to get as high as you can. But if we're looking on like a game by game basis, I'm not as upset.
I think I'm just upset because I was so invested in the tank, and now I feel let down.
Well,
Yeah.
ending
It's like
the
losing a
season on
playoff game.
That's exactly what I was going
No.
to say. This is a yearly tradition, then, Jacob. Ending
Yeah,
the
you
season
guys-
with disappointment.
You guys
Seattle
are
curse.
too upset about this.
I've been saying
You are
it for a
too-
long
you're
time.
And
too
and
upset about this.
so the 7%, like you said, it's not a big deal, but it's not insignificant.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like if you said
Not
I have a 7% chance of getting shot at work tomorrow, I'm probably not
Oh
going
my
to work,
gosh.
right?
Okay, buddy.
But
You
what if I
right over
said,
there?
You got finals to administer, Jacob.
what if I said
Now,
you had a
you're a week away.
45% chance of getting shot, or you can go work over here and have a 52% chance of getting shot?
Well, yeah, I'm
But
taking
I
the
you
don't.
probably
I
still not
don't.
going
I
to
don't
work.
like where this podcast is going.
It's getting
But
dark.
I just would like to say in my brain several times throughout the last game, I thought, we did this all for this to win on the last game. We did
right?
it. I wonder if part of it was just like Poku having a really good game, Moses Brown having a killer game, Josh Hall having a killer game, but also
There were some positives.
partially motivated by also maybe Scott Van Pelt and Presti being like, crap, now we have to go trial and then win a game against
Scott.
Of course,
Couldn't have waited a week.
of course, like the
yes.
Clippers, the Clippers were awful too. Keep that in mind.
Gosh.
Intentionally.
And just straight up standing there and not grabbing rebounds on purpose. But to that point, Kamiar, you have, I can too. Kamiar just put something in our chat. I can hear myself too. I think it's better now.
It's a secret,
podcasting, Taylor,
it's a
thank you.
secret message. You can never
Yeah, that's
know
right.
what
The
it
secret uncontested
is.
messaging during the podcast.
Secret.
But to that point, at
Ta-da.
halftime, instead of playing the starters, instead of playing Ty Jerome, who was healthy and ready to go, Baisley, who was healthy and ready to go, Dagnall threw out Poku at point, Josh Hall as shooting guard, I guess, would be shooting guard, Jalen Ford at small forward, Charlie Brown Jr., I guess just interchangeable forwards, and then Moses at the center, who just destroyed the non-existent Clippers tonight.
He destroyed the rim several times.
He did. And, that happens when he doesn't have anybody in front of him, too.
That's true.
Anyways.
All right.
I wouldn't want to stand in front of Moses. He'd either dunk on me or part the sea.
Fair. And he was parting the scene today. There was no defenders.
Instead of going through more of this game, because I don't really think there's much to dissect here, I have some end of season instant reactions that I want to ask you guys. So I'm going to fire off a question or a phrase, and I want you guys to give me your instant reactions based off of the Thunder season. First one, who is the Thunder's MVP of the season?
Poku. Shea, and it's not even close. Jacob, I read off the tweet that you tweeted from the Uncontested, towards the beginning of the game about his season averages. I mean, it's just really incredible.
Yeah.
Are we supposed to be picking from Shea despite the fact that he played not even a little over half a season, right? 19 and 26. Or is that just are we just cutting the entire season short then? What are we doing here?
Well, I
don't know.
I think Taylor's argument can be made that even if you count the whole season,
That's
Shea's
my
the
point.
MVP because his presence was a guiding
noticeable?
factor.
Yeah,
Well,
but
he was the one who took the biggest leap regardless and had the biggest impact.
If Russ was triple doubling all year and got the whiz to freaking 40-0, but then they lost 32 straight games, they wouldn't be because he gotten hurt. They would be let's give Russ MVP at the end of the season. They would be you need a whole season's body of work. So that's why I'm gonna go Poku.
Oh, wow. Okay. I like it.
Look where he was right here on the side of the screen. If you guys
That's why
see
I'm
me on
giving him
YouTube,
MIP. Most
and
improved.
look where he's at.
Yeah.
No, that's the award for fat kids. Come on, give it to the real guy.
Yeah, Poku's growth this season was pretty significant, and I'm excited to see what his growth from now to October looks like, because I think the offseason is incredibly
Huge.
pivotal for him. Okay, next one. The best play or game of the season?
Thunder Pacers, obviously. The one that I covered where the Thunder were down by 60 points. If your goal is to lose games, it doesn't get much better than that.
Dort 3-point corner win, bang.
Against the Spurs, that's a good one.
That's the real answer of the actual funnest moment of the season. That was hard to beat.
I agree with that. But the
Was
worst
that our
fun,
Dortal Combat shirt?
Yes, it
debut?
was.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Dort 40-point night was a fun game.
But reel that all the way back to game 1 of the season and the Shea game winner to beat the Hornets.
I
was
think
fun.
a lot about also post All-Star break. Most everybody was out. Thunder versus Grizzlies, and Shea just dominated the game, especially in the fourth quarter, and just completely outdueled Ja Morant and won the game. And it didn't look like the game was too fast. It didn't look like he was just hitting ridiculous shots. He just looked like a guy that was better than everybody else on the basketball court. That might be it for me.
I'm
Also, we
just
have to
excited
talk
for
about-
next season.
we have to talk about the Doherty 40.
Yeah, I mentioned that one. The Doherty 40 was huge.
42. Yeah.
Absolutely huge one.
Yep.
Next one. Biggest surprise of the season.
Kenrich Williams for me, because remember
Yeah.
preseason, I was like,
that.
this guy doesn't know how to use his legs. And then when he's actually playing, he could play several spots on the floor. You could honestly play him probably 2-3, more like a 3-4 guy. But if you needed a ball handler, you could have him there, because previously in OKC's basketball team, you had 2-3 guys that handled the ball. You had one of the forwards and then Russ in the backup point guard. And so like now OKC's not only getting guys that are not just athletic, getting guys like Poku that can shoot. Now they're going to work his jump shot, but getting several guys that can handle the ball from several different positions instead of just one or two on the court. That's a big deal.
Yeah. Kenny's a good one. Justin, who's your it doesn't have to be a person. What is your biggest surprise of the season?
I'm going to stick with people, and I'm going to go with Isaiah Roby, because
That's
again, coming out of those like final preseason pods, I felt like Roby was the only lock as far as who was going to get cut from that training camp roster. It was like, that guy's ass. Like, he's gone. Roby's done. And then they didn't cut him, and I was like, oh, okay, we'll see. But then he actually turned out to be like pretty solid, and he had some good moments for the Thunder this season. He had some development, and I think the switch that flipped from preseason Roby to regular season Roby was pretty incredible. And me and being an idiot, didn't see it coming.
Was it the bubble that did it all for those guys?
Roby didn't play in the.
Roby
He didn't
didn't
go to
go to
the
the
Oh,
bubble.
really?
the Gubba.
Yeah.
But was the bubble it for guys like Ty Jerome
Yes,
and
100%.
Poku? Like they
I
went
think
in,
so.
they came back out, totally different players.
Yeah.
Nick said this a couple different times on some of his post games and like some of the podcasts he's been on with us, but even and Jacob, I think. But you guys mentioned it's not just even OKC Thunder players; it's been some of the other guys coming from other teams who performed well in the G League bubble, came back with more confidence, and were able to contribute for their teams. So I absolutely think, especially for like Ty Jerome, just getting healthy again was huge. But to your guys' point, Kenrich Williams and Roby, that gave them more time with the Thunder, because Poku, some of those other people were down in the G League bubble in Orlando. So they did get some more time for more opportunity for growth.
Yeah. Taylor, what's your biggest surprise?
Those are both really good ones, and both that I have on my list. I think the two other ones that stick out the most to me, one is Lou Dort's offensive growth and development, not only from the leap that he made from the bubble to over the offseason into the season, because we all knew, I think, that 3-point percentage he was shooting early on, he was like 43 or whatever it was pretty unsustainable. But just continuing that throughout the season, I think he ended the season like 34% from
34.
three.
Yeah, I tweeted it tonight. 5% jump from last year.
That's awesome.
On 6
and then
attempts
also
a
just
game, which is big.
creating for others. I mean, I think we all kind of thought that game 7 maybe was just kind of an extreme, like more so a moment of opportunity rather than like a regular thing for Dort. And he goes out and drops 42 before the season's over, without Shea, with Shea on the bench and he being the focal point of the OKC offense. So his offensive growth, while still being able to maintain the defensive effort and intensity, I think was one of the biggest surprises and something I'm the most excited about after the season. And also Coach Daignault. Just in general, as a whole, we've talked a lot about him on the podcast throughout the season. Those are my two biggest pleasant surprises, I think, of the season.
What is Dort's offensive ceiling? And do you think this year, when he played several games at point guard, will affect, or how much do you think that will affect next year in his performance in the offense?
That's a good question.
That's a really good question.
To me, I see his role as an offensive player in the NBA being mainly a spot up, catch and shoot 3 guy or a relocate and shoot 3 guy. I don't see him doing a ton of ball handling. I think Daignault runs a more democratic system of basketball where he wants a lot of guys handling the ball and dribbling and driving and kicking. So that may result in him handling the ball more, but I see him mainly as a catch and shoot, relocate and shoot kind of guy.
I'm just happy that he can pump fake when he will actually have the confidence to take the shot, but also if he gets a guy just like going way too fast, of course, when you come to the corner too fast, just blow right by him. He's not hesitant at all to put the ball on the floor on the deck and go and attack the rim either.
And
I like
use his
that.
strength when he gets to the rim. He seems to be able to finish and have a little bit of a lighter touch when he gets to the rim, But I'm 100% with you, Colin.
I just wonder if this year will affect him going on for the next 3 years as far as like being able to see the entire offense because he played point guard so often.
Just like last season, we talked about how it would pay dividends for guys like Shea and Lou and even Baisley, although that's maybe a disappointment. Playing alongside somebody like Chris Paul, I think we saw the impact that had going into the playoffs last year kind of transition to this year where they are the guys.
Definitely. Last one. The most impactful thing for the future that came out of this season, Justin.
Poku. I know Kami already said Poku, but I think
that's a good one.
Seeing what he did through the course of the season, like Kami already mentioned, that growth and knowing his age and knowing that he's likely going to fill out that frame a little bit, he's going to continue to adjust to game speed. He's going to get a summer within the Thunder organization to continue to develop heading into next season. I'm super excited to see what Poku does. And given what the Thunder have in the arsenal at the moment, I'm very excited about Poku's future.
I like it. Kamiar, yours for most impactful thing for the future that came out of this season.
I like that Justin said Poku, but I'm going to go with Teo.
I like that one too.
Still very young. What is he? Still 19 or 20?
Mm-hmm.
I believe he's 19 still.
I think I think he turns 20 soon. Not only does he already have a competitive pedigree when it comes to basketball because he played over in the Euro leagues, winning titles with actually good teams and contributing off the bench, of course, but substantially contributing as a point guard off the bench and winning those titles. He's of course can shoot the ball from three, from spot up apparently, and he's of course now the rookie leader in OKC 3-pointers made. So I'm really curious to see what he can do in the off season as far as getting more muscular and getting more comfortable with driving the basketball more aggressively, as we saw him do down the stretch of this year. I wonder what that looks like when he probably adds 10 pounds to his frame and is a little bit taking more of his shots.
I like it. Taylor, what do you got?
I like both of those. And I think we all agree probably on that Poku one, like Kamiar mentioned, that he agreed with Justin. But, and this sounds like cheating, but I really don't think it is, because I think the biggest, most impactful thing coming from this season is to be determined, because we won't find that out until June 22nd on lottery night.
Oh, interesting. I'm surprised none of you guys went with Shea, because that's mine and it's not close. We came into this season wondering, I mean, how many times on this podcast did we say Shea's probably a Robin? He's going to need a Batman. He's going to need the supporting cast. I don't think the Thunder front office and coaching staff really knew what Shea was going to develop into. I think they had hopes. We didn't really know, obviously.
He's not done yet, right?
And he's not done yet, but this season, like, people want to say he took a step forward. I think he took a leap forward. Like, the efficiency was insane. It's been going around on social media a little bit and some other podcasts and whatnot. 70% of his threes were unassisted. And he shot 42% from three, and 70% of those are unassisted. That you're in the Damian Lillard, James Harden, Kevin Durant echelon.
The step back game was pretty nasty this year. We ain't gonna lie about it.
Yeah, and
it was dirty.
Led the league pretty significantly in drives per game.
Yeah, the driving.
Got into the paint at will, collapse defense, and it makes you wonder, when he gets better players around him, what does that look like?
I mean,
and he drives to the basket, and he's got shooters in all the corners. What happens?
So
if they collapse, you kick. If they don't collapse, he's got so many ways to finish at the rim. It becomes a massive problem. Silver in the chat says he wasn't an all-star. Maybe my way too early bet for next season is Shea is a shoo-in for the all-star game next year.
And he already has a Levi's commercial.
Yeah, that's right.
I think the biggest part of getting into the all-star game is you have to be part of the narrative early, right? Shea forced himself into the narrative this year.
Yeah.
As soon as next year starts, he's in the narrative. They're talking about him.
Kevin O'Connor talked about, and many other national media people saying that they felt that Shea deserved to be in it, but because of the team that he was on this year, he didn't get in, which is my other point that I was going to mention. You mentioned, surrounding him with shooters and more talent around him. I think that's all the reason why it is so important to land this draft pick and to get one of those top 5 picks, because if you do that, And I don't want to say the tank's quote unquote over at that point, but say Pressey does decide to hold on to Muscala heading into next season, and you have like a Muscala, and you have all these other players like Poku and Teo and others taking leaps, Lou Dort taking leaps, like we've mentioned here a little bit ago. I mean, that's a really fun, dangerous young team, and it just helps expand Shea's game even more.
And at
Definitely.
worst, you have one pick in the top 10 and another pick that's top 20. Like,
True.
I'm not freaking out about it.
True.
Last year we would have been excited about, top 20 pick that was actually ours, right? You didn't have to trade for whatever it is. And now you're going to get a pick in definitely in the top 9 or 10, right? Because
They can't drop lower than 9.
Okay, so you can, and your odds are you're probably going to finish in the top 7. And so most likely, if the worst you can get is pick 7 and pick 20, I'm okay with what that is probably going to give OKC with trusting Pressey in the front office, along with you're bringing Shea back, you're bringing Dort back, you're bringing Poku, who has a lot more experience back, and you're bringing whoever else back. Hopefully not Baisley. You can get Kuminga and just dump him somewhere, but I don't know what you're bringing in center. Do you think Bradley is starting next year at center?
That's a good question. It's going to be really fascinating to see what they do at the center position. I personally don't believe Moses will be back. So
Yep.
it's going to be interesting. All right. Well, guys, back at the beginning of the season, we sat down. By we, I mean Taylor,
boy.
Justin, and I. I wish Calmier was a part of this one, but he missed this episode.
We did last year.
Yeah. We sat down and we made some bets.
Oh, this is fun. I get to react to your shitty bets.
We are bringing it full circle tonight. Some of these bets have not come to fruition yet. Some of them have already been paid. But let's take a visit at what we bet and who needs to pay up. So I'm going to go in order of how we read off these bets on that episode back in December. The first one, we let Justin fire off the first bet of the night, and his first one was a Thunder-themed one. You ready, Justin?
No. I don't remember what I said.
Justin said that Darius Baisley would have a 40-point game.
Oh boy.
So close.
That did not come to fruition.
So close.
Yikes. Should have said
Taylor,
Dort.
I
Should've
was
said
close on
Dort.
this one.
Taylor took you up on that bet. Justin, you have lost. So you owe Taylor a 40 nugget tray from Chick-fil-A.
Oh,
With a
gross.
40 piece.
Oh, 40. Okay.
gross?
Yeah.
40.
No, I thought we did that. I thought that one was the 40
can say, I
Burger
take
King
my-
nugget thing. Yeah.
I take my nugget tray back. You don't get a nugget tray anymore.
The next bet. So Justin, you have to find a day time to get Taylor
Nuggets for
his
Taylor.
40 count nuggets, and then
Nuggets.
Taylor we
man.
have to put it on the all of the uncontested social accounts.
Fair.
The next one, we let Taylor place a bet. Taylor said Teo
Oh,
will
boy.
be starting next to Shea at the end of the season.
But I kind of
you
halfway
thought-
won.
So we need to ask: did Taylor win this bet?
Too bad Shea wasn't starting, buddy.
That's so tough. I halfway won.
And if Shea was starting and Shea and Dort started, would they have put Teo in the starting lineup with them?
Yes.
So
I think
absolutely
Taylor.
no.
I think
George
Taylor
Hill's traded.
loses.
He
Taylor
loses the
loses
bet. He
for being
loses
too
the bet.
specific.
Boo.
I'm
Boo. You guys just wanna see me
impartial.
lose.
I'm impartial here.
Thank you.
He
Thank you, Colin.
He loses though. He loses. the
Okay,
bet.
Taylor loses the bet. You guys in the chat hit us if you think Taylor should lose the bet or
Yeah.
not.
Of course
Next-
they do. They want to see me.
next
they
year,
want to see what
Taylor,
happens.
Don't
That's what
be
makes
so
it fun.
specific. Don't
So
be so specific.
Thank you, Silver.
Yes.
Thank you. Hill was gone.
Taylor loses the bet. So I took Taylor up on this one, and we did a French-themed bet. So Taylor owes me a croissant.
That
Oh.
works. I can do that.
I thought somebody had to
stereotypical.
sing the French national.
Oh,
anthem.
wait.
Oh, that
Just
one's
wait.
coming up.
Pause, buddy. We're getting there.
Okay,
Forget it.
that's fun. Okay, I'm glad I missed
I
this.
The
can do
next
a
night.
one,
croissant.
the
I'm
next
glad I
one
missed.
was my bet. And I said that the Philadelphia 76ers would be a top 2 seed in the East by the end of the
Drilled
season.
it.
And Justin called bullshit
Oh, I
and
thought you were
told me that there was no way
What an
Philly
idiot.
was going to end with the top 2 seed.
What an idiot.
Justin, you have lost. You owe me a Philly cheesesteak.
Ugh. Can I ask for something better?
It's Philly themed. What else
We
do you
try to
want?
make them themed.
A
Yeah,
signed copy of
point.
Rocky
For
Four?
Teo,
Good
Philly
point.
cheesesteak for Philly.
I just
I'm gonna
like to
get-
point out that I thought the Sixers were going to be number one in the East before all this.
Hey,
So-
I had the Sixers playing in the finals last year, and then I doubled down this year, and I am damn happy I did.
Well, last year that
Fair.
was stupid. I'm gonna get you one of the like crappy like frozen Phillies from like the Walmart frozen food section.
No, dude, screw
And
you.
ship it to you.
You specifically
your
said
Jersey
that,
Mets.
that there was a really good Philly place down in Dallas, so I'm going to come
Yeah,
visit you in
come
Dallas.
on down. We'll
You're
go
gonna
to
buy me a
Fred.
cheesesteak.
That's good.
We'll go to Fred's downtown Philly, and it'll blow
Oh
your
yeah,
mind.
we can all make a trip out of it. We live near a highway.
Mhm,
Yes.
mhm.
Do it.
We live near. a
I have
highway.
literally
We
95%
have
of all
cars.
Americans. Next one was a Justin bet.
God,
Why you betting so much, bro? You ain't
Mark
got
just
no-
says,
you
I
got
think
no-
Justin
the
has a
same
gambling
number.
problem.
You got no legs to stand on here.
we all took the same number bets.
Justin
We did.
said Teo Maladone would shoot 40% from three for
Here
the
it
season.
is.
He did not get there.
He
He
was
shot
close.
for the season. He shot
Was
33.5%.
He was
Which
close
was
until
higher.
the tank kicked in.
exactly.
Yeah.
He was
Dude,
like,
But can we
flirting
give
with-
it to him? Because Teo
Teo
literally
Break.
has made he broke the Thunder
Rookie
rookie
record.
record. That's fair.
see, I should have
Yeah,
I'm
worded
just
my
saying
bet
that makes it
differently.
a solid, understandable bet.
That's
but
like
he
not
still
getting all the
lost.
votes in an election, but still
Stop
saying you
the count.
won.
Okay. But he won the award for most
Yeah.
3 points.
I was on to
Justin-
something. Just the
Justin
wrong
has
something.
lost this bet. And
Dang.
because he lost this
Ruthless.
bet with Taylor, Justin has to film himself singing the French national anthem.
Oh, okay. Sorry,
Oui,
Justin.
oui.
I know that.
It's like, never
I
mind,
know-
take it back.
I know that anthem. That's not
Yeah.
a fun. Oh, I mean, like it's metal, right? It's awesome.
Yeah.
It talks about something
graphic.
about the blood of the children of your enemies or something. It's
Yeah. Are you gonna sing it in English or are you gonna learn the French version? This is important.
I
Make
feel like
him
it has to be
French.
French.
French, or you're
I am
disrespecting
so
the
ready
flag.
for it.
Amazing.
That
Don't-
will
don't-
definitely
Don't
So-
disrespect their flag.
Yeah, so Taylor's 40 count nuggets will be on all the uncontested social media channels. I will post a picture of my croissant that Taylor is buying me. We'll all post a picture when we're down in Dallas getting Philly cheesesteaks with Justin.
Ugh.
We'll
Can't wait.
definitely have videos. We might have to do restream live of Justin singing
Oh
the
my
French
gosh.
national anthem, I think.
That's fun. That's
I don't
fun.
like that.
Everybody's gonna be confused and think it's mildly racist, though.
Whoa.
The
Just
next
because,
bet
because
is
it can't understand
Taylor's.
the words.
The next bet is Taylor's, and I believe
Oh,
he has
boy.
lost this one.
Ooh,
He said that 4+ OKC players
I was close.
would score 30 or more.
I was
I
close.
think we only had 2. Is that right, Shay?
Yes.
And,
And then
Dort?
we did agree to amend it because I this is even worse, so it doesn't really matter. I thought Frank Jackson could potentially be one of those guys because
Yes.
he's 30+ in the bubble. So then you guys agreed to amend it to only 3 since he got cut, and it didn't matter. So I lose regardless.
All right. So once again, our man with the problem, Justin, took this bet up.
Yes.
He won one.
I won one.
What's you know that gif of Michael Jordan where he's like, "Stop, get help." I feel like that's us to Justin right now.
Okay.
So Taylor owes Justin an OKC earned edition hat or shirt.
Come on. Come on now. Let's
Ooh.
go.
Now that's
Which
that
one are
was a
you
solid
choosing,
one.
Justin? Are you getting a hat or are you getting like a jersey?
It probably depends on what's in stock. I think that stuff was pretty limited edition.
Yes.
Oh,
I mean, if I have to settle for a jersey, we'll just do that instead.
Yeah, that's right.
So we'll see.
there you go.
Hey, I have this great site from China.
Yes.
All right. The next one was my bet. I said that Shea would have a 35, 10, and 10 game. That never
Close.
happened. I got close,
close.
Mhm.
but that never happened. You'll never guess who took this bet.
Are you
Was it
kidding
Justin?
me?
I don't know how Justin still has like a
Did
house
anyone
or a
else
car or
do
a
any
wife.
bets?
And Justin bet his mortgage.
Jesus Christ, man.
Justin bet me on this one.
I've got a
I
1-800
have-
number
I have
for
lost, so I owe Justin a round of Top Golf.
Yes.
you. Oh, Top
that's
Golf
a
was
good one.
wonderful.
I'm
So,
on the come up.
so Justin will have to come up to OKC this summer so we can
No.
all go play Top
No,
Golf.
you got to
Y'all come
drive
to
down.
Dallas.
You got to drive down.
Come to Dallas. We'll
We got to
play
visit
Top Golf.
Bucky's too.
And
then
we'll eat our
get-
cheesesteaks.
Then we'll get
There-
Phillies, and
Okay.
I'll wear my Earn jersey.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
You'll sing the national anthem.
Yes, from
All at the
Top
same
Golf.
time. That's what we're gonna do this summer.
Perfect.
I like that. That's
The
fun.
next one was a bet that Justin initiated. He said, and this one's already been paid, just for the record. He said James Harden will not be traded this season.
Yeah,
He lost that bet real quick.
yeah.
And he had to get a Harden Twitter avatar for a week.
Yep.
Which
Yep,
one did
that
we
was
go
good.
with? Was it Fat Harden?
It was Fat
was-
Harden.
It was
I
Fat Harden.
campaigned very bigly for Fat Harden.
We should have went with the one where Giannis hit Harden in the face with the basketball. But okay, Taylor and I have a bet. Taylor initiated it. I amended it a little bit. That has not come to fruition yet. So we're still going to ride this one out. Taylor's bet was that Russ will make All NBA. If I lose, if Russ does become All NBA,
It's gonna be
then
close.
I have to wear a Russ outfit.
Oh
Taylor
yeah,
has to pick
full on
out.
outfit.
My side of the bet was Brad Beal would make All NBA.
Also
And
close.
if Brad Beal makes All NBA, then Taylor has to make a donation to a charity.
I like it.
So that one is still out in the air.
That's close.
And then the last one, and hands down, the most important bet we made, initiated by me, accepted by Taylor. I said the Thunder will
pick.
get a top 2 pick in the draft.
Yep.
We will not know this until June 22nd. Taylor took me up on that bet. And if Taylor loses, that means the Thunder got pick 1 or 2 in the draft, which is awesome.
Exactly.
And I have to pay
I like
for
this one.
But if the Thunder do not get a top 2 pick, then Taylor has to buy Bobos for the entire podcast.
Yes.
And that's
So
the one
if
that
the
Justin
Thunder-
comes up
You know what?
for.
I'd be so happy if they do get it, though. I probably would still buy Bobos for the entire
Yeah.
podcast.
So if the Thunder get pick number 1 or 2, I am buying Bobos. Sorry, Taylor's buying Bobos for everyone. If I lose, which means the Thunder fall out of pick 1 or 2, they pick 3 through 9. Then I have to buy Bobos for everyone.
Yes,
we all win.
another.
I'm a winner.
That's
Yes.
what I was going to say. Yet another winning bet for me.
That means Justin, you got to drive up to OKC so you can get your Bobos.
Deal.
I like it. We'll do a Dallas trip and OKC trip.
There we go.
Justin can do an OKC trip. Silver did say in the chat, Silver, I have one as well. And me and him do have one that I think still stands for next season, but he'll have to confirm. I told Silver that he had been chatting with. It was one of my post-game pods in the locker room. And I told him with all these questions that he should come on the podcast and speak. And he told me if Poku scores 30 plus in a game, he would come on and speak. And we got really close tonight.
I love it. I love it. Well, gentlemen, for the last time this year,
Oh,
it's time for us to go to the tank meter.
Loser! You're a loser! And that means that the number 1 pick in the NBA draft goes to...
All right, an update on the tank, gentlemen. It is over. It's finally done. We have reached the end. And as we've mentioned multiple times on this show already, the Thunder are now tied for the 4th best odds in the lottery. That gives them a 45.1% chance at a top 4 pick and 11.5% chance at the number 1 overall pick. The Thunder will end this year getting 2 first-round picks. The best 2 of these following 3: the Thunder pick, the Houston pick, the Miami pick. Houston keeps their own if it falls 1 through 4. There's a 52% chance that it does not fall 1 through 4 and it slides all the way to 5. That's
I like that.
That's the best hope for the Thunder. Also, the Miami Heat pick is officially locked in at pick number 18. So if the Thunder do not get the Houston Rockets pick, they will get their own pick and pick number 18 from the Miami Heat. So out of the entire season, Justin, how do you rate the tank?
Making me go first, huh?
Do you have your story?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, then you don't go first. You go last.
Okay.
Tell me,
Yep.
out of the
Yeah.
entire season, how do you rate the tank?
And this is still on a 1 to 10 scale.
Yeah, like If the tank is full, they fully tanked all year. If it's
Okay.
empty, they didn't tank at all.
Okay. It's about, it's basically 9/10 full, right? I mean, you don't get the absolute best few 3 odds. You fall just short of that because you won your last game of the season. But we weren't expecting this good of playoff odds to be, or this good of seeding odds to begin with. I know. We weren't. Yes, sorry. We weren't expecting this good of lottery ball odds in the beginning of the season when they were 19 and 26. So I feel okay with it. At 9/10, I digress.
Taylor,
I think
Where
that's
do you- where
pretty
do you put
fair. I'm going to go ahead, though, and say that it's all the way full. We went full on tank, considering everybody's seen the stat that ESPN Stats and Info tweeted out. Wei Young tweeted out here a couple weeks ago. I brought it up on the podcast. I don't have it memorized, even though I probably should. But basically, the Thunder during that stretch had the largest margin of victory, or largest margin of defeat in NBA history. And so, I mean, when you're doing that, you're sitting guys like we talked about. You're getting national attention from Scott Van Pelt, ESPN. I think you have to say that the tank was full speed ahead, even if we didn't get like the Houston Rocket #1 odds like we were hoping to get.
all right, Justin.
All right. I feel a lot of pressure for this one. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to live up to the entertainment value, but I was doing some research during tonight's game, and I came across something that felt too fitting while I watched Oklahoma City and the Clippers really just kind of battle tank action tonight in Oklahoma City. And I came across this event that's held annually by the Russian government that is called the International Army Games. And it's essentially a giant like propaganda machine for Russia to flex on everybody and talk about how great they are. But aside from that, it's a number of military style Olympic game type events where they're competing, but it's like military stuff. And the one that stands out above them all is the tank biathlon. This is exactly what it sounds like. You know, the biathlon in the Olympics where it's like a race, but they also shoot stuff. It's that, but with tanks.
That's incredible.
And the course includes high speed section, slalom poles, going over an anti-tank trench, which Oklahoma City had to go through some anti-tank trenches this season.
Sure.
Amongst other things. And it's an event that's held every year, and shocker, Russia wins every year. But that's beside the point. But tonight, watching Oklahoma City and the Clippers, here, I'm going to share a clip if I can.
Gotcha. Oh my gosh.
This is what it reminded me of. We're going to post the link to this video so everyone can enjoy it, but it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. And there's like screaming Russian commentary on top of it that you probably can't hear.
I bet Michael Cage would be a great commentator on this.
But like, look at this thing going through the slaloms.
This is incredible.
My gosh.
My favorite part is the trench. I got to fast forward to the trench.
That definitely looks like the tank
this.
from this year.
How long is this video?
Oh, there is literally hundreds of videos. I've watched probably
incredible.
half of them.
That's
then
awesome, man.
They stop at a certain point and they shoot stuff. And yeah, look at that.
There you go.
Nailed it.
That's
Gonna watch the
incredible.
entire video.
That's SGA right there. Now hang on. There is
It's at
a
42%.
one of the specific events as part of this tank is a actual race. So that one was like it's kind of like a time trial thing.
It's an
Where-
obstacle course.
Where
What
it's like
is
It's a tank obstacle course.
where it is based off the best overall time. Then you get this where 4 tanks go side by side. And this is what today reminded me of.
This is like
You
a
got
drag
the
The
Clippers,
battle for the tank.
the Clippers and the Thunder both trying to lose at the same time. You had Denver probably trying to lose, Cleveland trying to lose. Everyone's trying to race for Cade Cunningham. This is the race for Cade Cunningham in Russian propaganda form. It's so good.
This is freaking awesome.
This is amazing.
Look at that one. It almost goes airborne.
I was gonna say it just flew
Hey,
in the
we've been
air.
saving up pod money. I know what we're cashing in on.
We're gonna get a tank.
We're all
and
going
Thunder
to
Blue.
Russia to watch this.
Yes.
Live pods from Russia, baby.
Yes. It's amazing. This video is over an hour long.
Oh my
I
God.
can't vouch for the other 50 minutes, but the beginning's good.
I love it.
That's amazing.
So there you go. That was the end to the Oklahoma City Thunder season. Unfortunately, much like any country not named Russia, they did not come out on top. However, I think they're still in a good place as far as the tank goes.
Very good. Well, Justin, I can personally say that I have loved your tank meter stories over the past month and a half.
And this one did not disappoint.
Yes, it's made the tank more bearable, although my favorite, hands down, is the one about being so full after you ate a bunch of stuff at your bachelor party and almost pooped your pants. So
It's not to be forgotten.
thank you so much. Taylor, they tell us all the time, don't read the comments. But take us on a trip through the comments on the Uncontested live feed.
They are different. So Silver, we were talking about Scott Van Pelt. He said stupid Van Scott. That was kind of funny. Marcus Kruger is right there with us in our depression tonight. He says, well, it's a Dos Equis and oops, all berries Captain Crunch kind of night. Sad day.
That sounds like a delightful combo, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, fair. I'm hoping he pours the Dos Equis in instead of the milk.
Gross.
You're an animal.
Xander LaFlame simply disagrees with the existence of Moses Brown. Let's see. We actually have some questions in here, and I just have to find them. Silver says that Justin should have covered this game, and we would have lost, and everybody would be fine. Okay, so here's a question.
True statement.
The Wash, our guy, The Wash. Does OKC give more money to Moses than Dort to destroy the franchise?
I hope not. Again, I don't think Moses is back next year.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. He also wants to know, are the Clippers mad about Shea? I think what he's referring to is
the trade.
They have done that trade. Yeah, if they knew what Shea was going to develop into.
It's a great point because they do not have draft picks for the next 7 years because of that trade.
Right. And then Bran XO, she has a really good question. To your point that you made just a bit ago, Jacob, do you think Moses Brown and Josh Hall are on the Thunder in the next couple of seasons?
I say
Jacob,
no.
I was going to say, Jacob already let his thoughts known. I don't know. Josh Hall was kind of fun. Let's give Josh Hall another run.
I kind of like him on another two-way.
Yeah. I think it depends on, and I don't want to take us too deep down a rabbit hole, but like, what are the Thunder's objectives next year? Because I think that'll go a long way in answering this question.
I think it doesn't really matter what their objectives are. I think Shea is going to be too good for them to bottom out at this level again.
Yep. Agreed.
I agree with that statement. I think next year will be much harder to lose, especially with how much people have progressed and just how good Shea is in general.
They might end up with the 10th best odds, right?
Yeah.
Still not make the playoffs, but all right. Any more comments we need to know about Taylor?
So this one will be a pretty quick answer, but Silver asked, why did Baisley not play tonight?
Yeah, if you want to tank, I think you play Baisley, right?
That's
Man.
honestly kind of fair. I was a little surprised.
Sheesh. Poor Bays.
But
Poor Bays.
so speaking of Baisley, is Baisley a part of the future? It comes from the chat. What do you guys think? Where does he fit in the future?
Not long term to me. Not long term as far as the bigger plan, as far as him being starting. Maybe he's a bench piece down the road that they try to get rid of, but he's not going to be a dude in the future.
Yeah.
I feel like that OKC is going to shy away from going after Suggs or Green, and maybe they won't have to worry about it now with the lessened lottery odds. But like 1 through 9, they can get anything. I think they're going to go more wing, more 3 or 4. And if you're going to play Poku not at the 4, I mean, somebody's got to go. If they're looking at a 4 or 5 like Mobley or Kuminga or Scotty Barnes, all those dudes are 6'8" and higher. It's going to be tough.
Fair.
Yeah, I'm
and
with
the
you.
last one we have here is Marcus Kruger. Looking at the 2022 draft, there are a lot of modern NBA 4s and 5s. 12 in the top 20. I think he's probably referring to the ESPN top 100. Does the 2022 draft factor into the Thunder strategy if they are 2 and 4 or if they are at 2 through 4, and Mobley's there this year with a Green or Suggs being available?
That's a great question. I really don't know. What I do know is that this year and next year, and I plan on looking up some stats on this, but Presti is incredibly aggressive on draft night. So I think both the 2021 and the 2022 draft, Presti is going to be gunning, being aggressive, trying to make trades to trade up and get guys that he wants. And, we will see. But I think the 2022 draft is just as important. The Thunder have 3 picks coming up in that draft as well.
I agree with that, but I also think if the right person, somebody that Presti really values, which obviously there are some of those players in this draft that he does, or we wouldn't have seen him take the extreme measures that he did post All-Star break to try and better their odds, like we've been talking about the majority of this podcast. So if that player is there, he's not going to be thinking about 2022 draft. And for example, if you have Suggs and Mobley on the board, and let's say that he has Mobley at the top of his prospect list, he's not going to take Suggs just because he sees a center or a couple centers in the next draft that he really likes. He's going to take the best available. And that's totally how you succeed in the draft. Totally
fair. All right, you guys ready to wrap this bad boy up? We have a little bit of Around the Association, and then we will get out of here.
Sweet.
I don't even know where you're sitting at.
All right, gentlemen. The regular season is over. It's playoff time.
Part of
playoff time means we get the quote-unquote play-in games. I saw somebody refer to them as the wild card games today, which I think that's nice because that's something everybody already kind of like identifies and understands.
It was day to 4, and I agree with that entirely. I like it a lot.
Okay, so I'm going to give you guys one of the play-in games. You tell me who wins. It's that simple. You ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
First one, let's do East 7 versus 8. Winner gets the 7 seed. We got Boston versus Washington.
Washington.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. I'm gonna put these. I'm gonna write these down as we go.
Jaylen Brown's out.
You guys have Washington over Boston. Sweet. Let's jump to the 7 versus 8 in the West. Must-watch television: the Golden State Warriors versus the Los Angeles Lakers.
Lake Show.
I want to say the Warriors so bad just because everybody's going to pick the Lakers. Because everybody's going to pick the Lakers. And
all it takes is Steph going off for one game. And they're not going to play him 30 minutes. They're playing him 40 plus in that game.
I still don't think it's going to matter.
Yeah, no, they won't. The Lakers fans are going to be so confused because they had rooted for this Golden State team for the last 6 years. Yeah. So it's going to be really confusing for them, especially when there's one goal on the court at all times.
Yeah, I'm going Lakers as well.
So all of you guys are going Lakers over Golden State Warriors.
I just don't think they have the depth compared to the Lakers if everybody's healthy.
Let's jump back to the East. The 9-10 game. Loser goes home. Winner plays the loser of the 7-8. We've got Indiana versus Charlotte.
Oh, give me the Hornets. I love the Hornets. Miles Bridges. You have Scary Terry.
LaMelo.
Graham. Yeah. I mean, all those
guys
I like
can
Charlotte
drop
at any given
Charlotte's
time.
fun. Charlotte's fun, yeah.
I still have a LaMelo KC shirt design sitting on my computer somewhere.
That's incredible.
When that rumor was floating.
That's awesome.
But I'm gonna go Hornets as well. Clean sweeps across the board.
Indiana really injured as well. So okay, let's go back to the West. We've got the Memphis Grizzlies versus the San Antonio Spurs.
Ja Morant.
What an ugly game.
Yeah, Ja Morant will get it done. Pop will end his career on a very hyper athletic point guard once again.
I like the Grizz as well.
Give me the Spurs. And this is what I'm going different on, just because it would be the most Greg Popovich team thing ever, where the team's just kind of been meh the whole entire season, and they come out against in a playing game. They're more prepared than the other team. The Grizzlies have looked flat, even with Triple J coming back. I'm going to go with the Spurs here. I think the Spurs will do it and then just get absolutely stomped in the second playing game.
So to end the playing games, we have the loser of game 1 playing the winner of game 2. So for the East, that's Boston versus Indiana. Who are you guys going with?
Boston, probably.
Yeah, that's a tough one because I could see like Sabonis and like Karis LeVert going off and getting them over that, getting them that win. But I just can't bet against Jason Tatum mainly because I really like Jason Tatum. So,
do I have to answer?
Yes.
Man,
it's a tough one.
Give me Boston. Give me Boston. We'll do something.
How'd you like to be a Celtics fan and get to watch your team lose to the tanking Thunder and Cavs?
Yeah, no crap, right?
Unbelievable.
Awful.
And then Jaylen Brown goes out with a season-ending injury. Just
Okay. And then in the West, I think we're all going to be in agreement pretty quickly. Memphis, or for Taylor's sake, the Spurs versus Golden State.
Golden State.
That's going to be fun,
Steph.
though.
It would be
It's gonna be a
fun.
blast.
Actually, you know what? I could see Memphis beating Golden State with JJJ back.
I think if that is how the play-in plays out, it's going to be a blast in the
Yeah,
West.
100%.
I'll go
It's gonna be
Memphis.
much
Like,
watch.
despite what we saw today,
Yep.
right? And it got really close to the end. I'll stay take Memphis. It'll
That's
be fun.
fair. If Dylan
like
Brooks
it.
didn't foul out, that game's interesting, or even more interesting.
Yeah.
So
One thing I didn't mention though that I just realized we're all aboard the Wizards because we're all rooting for Russ, obviously, and also we all like Bradley Beal. But Bradley Beal did not look healthy tonight, and that really, really scares me.
that's true.
That might screw over our Brooklyn Nets Wizards first round matchup, which would be amazing.
So as we have with your guys' picks, it would be Washington versus Brooklyn in the first round.
Yes.
And then we would get Boston versus Philly in the first round. In the West, we would have the Lakers versus the Suns. Poor Suns, man. Worked your ass off all season and get the Lakers in round 1. And then we would get the Warriors, or for Kamiar's sake, the Grizzlies versus Utah. I think both of those matchups will be pretty fun.
Yeah, they would be
This
fun.
will be fun.
It's going to be a great playoffs. I can't wait. And hey, for folks like us, zero stress. Not worried about it at all.
But I'll be real worried about June 22nd until it gets here.
Oh,
I
God,
feel
no.
fine.
Let's
I'm
not
gonna
talk
be
about that,
okay.
please.
I'm gonna be okay.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for jumping on late with us on the stream tonight. We really appreciate you. Although it might have been a rough season with all the tanking, we have had a blast covering this team with you. Thank you guys, old listeners and new, for joining up with us this year. But do not worry, because we are going absolutely nowhere. Actually, we might be working more now that the season is over. Player grades, draft prospect breakdowns, lottery night, the draft, free agency, summer league. It's all on the way, man, and we cannot wait. Just a quick reminder once more, every Sunday night, 9 p.m., right here on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Come hang out with us. Tomorrow, Monday, we will be on the Locker Room app, just hosting a hangout. Come chill, listen in, talk in the chat, hop up on stage and speak with us. We'll have a blast. Wednesday night on Locker Room, we will record an actual podcast so you can jump in and listen live. And then Friday night, we'll do another hangout. We're going to talk a lot of playoff basketball as these play-in games are going on throughout the week. So make sure you download the Locker Room app. It's both on Apple and Android. So download that app. Come join us. Have a great beginning of your week. The tank is now over. You don't have to worry about losses anymore. Let's hope some lottery balls fall the right way. Some coin flips. Land on heads. Unless it's under our tails, then we definitely want tails. And we will talk with you guys soon. As always, let those lottery balls fall the right way and thunder up.